You missed this in Chicago. A farewell tour derailed, a beast unleashed, and a decade-long return that rewrote WWE's future. From the moment the Allstate Arena lights hit, this wasn't just a SmackDown. It was Chicago, the most volatile city in WWE history. John Cena entered, 17-time world champion. His farewell tour stopped here, and Chicago gave him the loudest thank you yet. Cena reflected on the US Open Challenge, the matches that made careers. Tonight he wanted to pay it forward. Sami Zayn, the current US champion, walked out. No boos, no jeers, just a respectful nod to the man who gave him his break a decade ago. Sami didn't just come to thank Cena. He came with fire. To keep the tradition alive, he introduced the Sami Zayn Open Challenge. Cena smiled. This wasn't about ego. This was about legacy. He accepted the spirit instantly. But then Sami flipped the script. Why wait a week? Why wait a month? Let's do it now. In Chicago, Cena nodded. The referee slid in. Just like that, we had Cena versus Zayn for the US Championship. Classic opening. Cena's power versus Sami's speed. Chicago soaked in every hold, every reversal. They knew this was history. Cena hit shoulder tackles. 5-knuckle shuffle, nostalgia for 20 years. This wasn't just a match. It was a time capsule. Zayn slipped under, hit a blue thunderbomb. Near fall. The crowd gasped. Chicago believed in both men. Cena pulled out an angle slam, a GTS in Punk's hometown. A spear. He was honoring his rivals, not just himself. Sami countered, launched a haluva kick attempt. Cena ducked. The pace quickened. Every move screamed urgency. Cena even teased an STF into an ankle lock. Shades of Kurt Angle, his first WWE opponent. Chicago rallied. Old chants filled the air. Zayn clawed to the ropes, refusing to tap. Cena lifted Sami for the attitude adjustment. Zayn wriggled free, rolled through, nearly stole the win. This wasn't about who's stronger. It was about who had one more burst left. The tempo climbed. Cole shouted history. Corey reminded us. Cena's farewell tour doesn't promise titles. Just moments. And just when Cena looked poised to reclaim US gold, the arena shook. The Beast, Brock Lesnar, unadvertised, unstoppable. Chicago erupted in shock. Lesnar stormed down. Zayn in his path. One F5 down. Then Cena, up on Brock's shoulders. F5, spine-shattering. Chicago gasped. This wasn't about Zayn. This wasn't about gold. This was Lesnar reminding Cena, their rivalry never ends. Because one wasn't enough. Brock hoisted Cena again. Second F5, the Beast smiled coldly. Backstage, Brock growled into the hard cam, "I'll see you at WrestlePalooza." Not a match challenge. A declaration. WrestlePalooza will host Cena versus Lesnar. One final war. Chicago booed. Some cheered. But everyone understood. History is repeating. Officials helped Cena. The farewell tour just got derailed by the Beast. And while Chicago processed destruction, another storm brewed. Damian Priest versus Aleister Black. Two heavy strikers. One feud fueled by ambushes. Priest used size. Martial arts combos. A razor's edge through the announce table. Black clawed back into the ring. Eyes glazed, but fists still sharp. Priest mocked, raised his arms. The crowd turned. Chicago booed. 1 second. That's all Black needed. Priest lunged. Black mass. Boom. 1, 2, 3. Aleister Black stole it. Priest looked stunned. Cole shouted, "The Black Mass can end anyone, anytime." Priest mouthed at the camera, "Not over." Chicago believed him. And from strikes to schemes, SmackDown shifted again. Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, two predators circling. The mic duel told the story. Randy reminded Drew, "He always pulls the trigger. RKOs don't wait for conscience." Drew snarled back. Randy hears voices. But the future belongs to warriors, not ghosts. Chicago roared. Split chants. The tension thick. This isn't finished. Orton versus Drew looms, probably at WrestlePalooza. And while veterans traded threats, the women stole the show. Julia defended her women's US title against Kiana James interfered. It was quick. Julia retained. But chaos after told the real story. Michin attacked. Julia laughed. This feud isn't over. The women's division has depth. And speaking of depth, Chicago's main event had layers of its own. Seth Rollins danced out. The champ soaking in heat. Chicago booed. He mocked Punk, called him a coward, introduced his wife, Becky Lynch. Becky declared herself the greatest female wrestler, quoted Sports Illustrated, mocked Chicago sports teams. Heat rained down. CM Punk! Chants filled the arena. She snapped, "Don't chant that name when I'm in this ring." CM Punk walked out. Chicago erupted, deafening, like 2011 all over again. Punk called Rollins a coward, hiding behind Heyman, behind goons, behind his wife. Becky slapped Punk, laughed, dared him to hit her back. Punk said, "I'd never hit a woman, but I know someone who will." Chicago held its breath. Who could Punk mean? Seconds later, we found out the impossible. AJ Lee's theme. After 3,800 days, she walked back into WWE. Becky froze. Rollins' jaw dropped. Punk smirked. Chicago exploded. Lee stormed the ring. Dropkick. Facebuster. Becky staggered. Cole screamed. Crazy is her superpower. Chicago believed it. They brawled. AJ pounding. Becky retreating. Rollins unsure what to do. Punk clapped at ringside. Proud husband. Proud partner. Becky slid out. Shocked. Rattled. Chicago. Chanting AJ's name louder than ever. Rollins shielded Becky. He realized this isn't just Punk versus Rollins anymore. Punk and AJ stood tall. Rollins and Becky backed up the ramp. WWE's next war framed perfectly. Why was AJ Lee's return seismic? She was the last rebel before the women's revolution. A trailblazer. She wasn't cheered. She was worshipped. Chicago crowned her queen again. Becky called herself the greatest. But AJ's pop just exposed her insecurity. Rollins grinned, danced, but never stepped toward Punk. Classic avoidance. Punk didn't just get backup. He got credibility. His war with Rollins now has equal footing. WWE just teased a dream. Punk and AJ versus Rollins and Becky. WrestlePalooza? WrestleMania? Twitter, Reddit, YouTube blew up instantly. AJ trending number 1. Becky trending number 2. WWE's plan worked. For US fans, this is legacy. For Europe, it's dream booking. For Canada, it's validation. For Australia, it's nostalgia. Punk and AJ versus Rollins and Becky isn't just a feud. It's a power couple war. Love, loyalty, legacy, all at stake. This is why this SmackDown will be replayed for years. Not just a return, a cultural reset. Cena left on a stretcher, but his fight isn't over. Lesnar guaranteed it. Sami Zayn survived, but his belt? Stained by Lesnar's chaos. He'll fight another day. Priest lost, but not clean. Expect him to double down next week. Black's precision proved lethal. He's climbing again. Orton versus Drew is only simmering. When it erupts, it will headline. Julia retained, but her challengers aren't done. The division's heating quietly. Becky Lynch just met her worst nightmare, the ghost of AJ Lee. Rollins looked fearless until AJ returned. His silence said more than words. For Punk, this was vindication. He's not alone in this war. For WWE fans, AJ Lee represents unfinished business. That chapter just reopened. Lesnar versus Cena. Possibly AJ versus Becky. WWE just booked half the card tonight. And if WWE stretches it, Punk and AJ versus Rollins and Becky could headline WrestleMania 42. For US fans, nostalgia. For UK, storytelling. For Germany and France, chaos. For Nordics, warrior grit. This episode trended worldwide. Chicago proved why cities matter. WWE still runs on real crowds. Cena's farewell. Lesnar's hunger. AJ's return. Becky's arrogance. Rollins' avoidance. All threads woven tonight. This SmackDown will live on. Just like Money in the Bank 2011, just like Punk's pipe bomb. Next week isn't filler. It's fallout. The chess pieces are moving. And just when you think you know WWE's next move, it flips the board. Don't miss the next breakdown, because this war is only starting. Watch our Clash in Paris predictions next, or dive into our CM Punk versus Rollins deep dive. WWE's future is being written. Don't blink. Visual cue. End screen cards with next video links.